5 impulses that we use when we're selling to customers. I guess if you're like me, I started in this industry with no experience, so the 5 impulses, or impulsing in general, is a bit of a foreign concept and a really a foreign language to us. But actually, if you look at traditional advertising, every TV, radio, billboard ad that we see is riddled with impulses, whether it's visual impulses, impulse words, and that all of those impulses are put there to attract customers to that product or that service, and entice customers to get involved. And in direct selling and direct sales, we're no different. So as we're speaking to customers, how we get customers excited about the product, the different products that we're promoting to people, is impulsing people and getting people excited about using that product or service. And really, I guess taking the product and making it come to life by using impulses. So I'm going to talk you through the 5 impulses that we use, how we typically would teach it out and would coach you here is we use an acronym called GIFTS. The G stands for greed, the I stands for indifference, F is for fear of loss, T is for the Jones theory, and S is for sense of urgency. That's a little bit controversial. Not everyone does it that way, but this is how I'm going to do it anyway. And hopefully, you can use some of the information that I'm about to give you. I'll start with the first with the G in the acronym, and that's greed. And I guess greed can seem like a little bit of a sinister sort of a thing to say, but it actually, what we're appealing to customers is we're appealing to their nature of wanting to save money, etc. So, with all of the different products that we're involved in, generally, if it's a service provider, it's a discount, it's a product that has more benefits than maybe their current supplier. Whether it's an organic food company we're representing, whether it's an energy supplier, whether it's energy efficiency measures, where customers can get funding to reduce energy bills, etc. Any of the products that we sell will all have something along those lines where a customer can make a saving or can get a feel-good factor from getting involved in that. So I think that's the first thing, and so any words I use throughout the course of my presentation, anything to do with saving money, rather than staying with your current supplier and not saving money, you can pay a little bit less and get a better deal. And that's typically how we use greed. So try and key in, particularly if you're talking about savings and getting a discount, etc., and that gets the customer interested. That's where you've got to look and see that that's maybe an impulse that's going to work really well with that particular customer. It doesn't work with everybody, because customers will different things will excite different people, but certainly greed is something that I would generally use. The next impulse I'm going to talk about is indifference, and I guess indifference is a vitally important impulse, because you can be out in the field speaking to lots of customers and doing pretty much everything right. But if you're not indifferent, customers will feel like you're trying to sell to them, or that there's more of a benefit for you than them. And the phrase that I typically would use is, people love to buy, they hate being sold to. And I think that's probably the same for you and me. We're the same. We don't like, and it's the opposite of what we're trying to achieve. The typical kind of salesperson is deemed as pushy, etc. That's the opposite of what this organization does. My own organization is the same. And it's the opposite, and it creates an undesirable effect. You actually do less sales. You've got worse customer service because of that. So indifference is massive. A couple of components to indifference. Number one is body language. So using your body language, using open and relaxed body language when I'm talking to customers about when making a decision. I'm shrugging my shoulders. I'm giving them the option. It's up to you. This is why people do it. But the ball's in your court, and shrugging your shoulders, like I say, using open body language, and then lining up your body language with what you're actually saying. So saying things like, listen, it's up to you, these are the 2 options, which one would you prefer? And then I think the other thing that's a bit of a hidden benefit for indifference is that you have a huge influence on your customer service, and I think it's probably a hidden benefit of a lot of this impulse, is that it can actually lower your cancellations, lower your reason. Remember, customers relax, you're relaxed, they feel good about it, and again, they don't feel they're being pushed into something. they're left with a really good feeling. I just think people are much more likely to buy when you're relaxed and you're calm. And I think that's the big key in indifference as well. So mix what you're saying with your body language, and you'll find you'll get a really good result from indifference. The next impulse I'm going to talk about is fear of loss. Fear of loss is again vitally important. I mean, they all are, but this is vitally important. And that's not, when what you're not trying to do is make a customer feel like they're going to miss out, but really they're not going to miss out. And what I mean by that is, if you go and see any high street, anywhere in Western Europe, around the world, closing down, sale, etc., and then you're back there next week and the business hasn't closed down. So that's a bit of a blag and a bit of there's a bit of skullduggery, shall we say, in that. What we want to do when we're talking about fear of loss is that the customers are genuinely want to feel like they're missing out on a deal, but not we're making up that they're going to miss out on a deal. They genuinely are going to miss out on a deal. So a lot of the offers that we have for customers are limited time only, etc. as well. So use any unique selling points that you have that are based on timelines and based on a certain period of time, or a one-off, whether it's a discount off a first bill or a first box that they buy, etc. And use that to your advantage, and customers will definitely they'll have a reason to buy on the day, and that's the real key with fear of loss. And I suppose, again, it's nothing really to do with body language this time around, but certainly with the words you're saying. So that's a big thing. Make sure that you fear of loss in people, and making sure that people understand if they don't get it done today, they're going to miss out on getting a great save and miss out on getting, whether it's a funding or whatever the case may be. Make sure the customers are really clear they're going to miss out without getting involved today, and you'll find that'll increase your sales too. Next one I'm going to talk about is the Jones theory. Different people will have a different acronym, but I always, this is how we coach it out in my organization, which is, and the big one is people find safety in numbers. If you how do products become popular? Typically, in the early days of a product launch, maybe a few people pick it up, but as momentum starts to go on, I guess if you look at social media, for example, certain sites, it's Jones theory is really rolled out with some major social networking. When your friends and your pals are on it, not so cool when your mum and dad are on it, but definitely if your friends and pals are on it, you'll get involved in it too. And that Jones theory works exactly the same in direct sales when we're dealing with customers, talking about how many customers are actually involved with the client you're representing. And I'm talking about subtle Jones theory, not your neighbor John's got. I mean, that's very obvious Jones theory. That's not what I would coach out. There's X amount of million or X amount of thousand customers have already got involved in this company. Lots of people are using them because of X, Y, and Z, given the features and benefits. A lot of people in the area have chosen to leave one company to come to this one because, and of course there's evidence of that, because typically the companies that we work for are major organizations that have built a big customer base, and they're using us to add to that customer base and add with quality too. So Jones theory, huge impulse to use in the field, and I think essential for every time you go and talk to a customer. So again, use Jones theory massively, and again, I think have a big impact on your sales. And the final impulse I'm going to talk about is sense of urgency. And sense of urgency, I call it the forgotten impulse. And there's a few different systems of teaching impulse. This is the one we use, and we find it really effective. And sense of urgency is using words that are gonna get people understanding that you're not going to take a very long time, and we are in impact sales. Customers, when we go and speak to them, whether it's at their homes, at their businesses, at an event store, whatever the case may be, or events or in-store, should I say, they customers are going to think, oh, how long is this going to take? So any words I can use when I'm talking to customers about, it only takes a couple of minutes, we'll get it done for you really quickly. It just takes a couple of seconds to chat to you about it, and also to read and also go and explain to people, like, we're getting it done today. Anything that indicates that we're going to get it done now or get it done today, and that's going to be quick, is really important. And again, I don't think it's used enough. I know some people talk about different. There are plenty of different impulses you can use, but certainly they're the main 5 for me, and it's using those keywords. And the final thing about using the impulses, and I'll leave you with this little piece of advice, is it's really important that throughout your presentation that you don't speak too quickly, because when you do speak too quickly, I think it's kind of a typical pretty salesperson thing to do, and certainly I don't think it builds any trust at all. So it's important to speak slowly, speak calmly, and when you're using these key words, just like in a billboard and a TV ad, the timing of them, in traditional advertising is vitally important. And again, in direct sales, we're absolutely no different. So when you're speaking to customers, speak slowly, speak calmly, so they can hear the impulses. Use your body language correctly, and again, the more of these key impulse words that the customers can pick up on and listen to, the more excited they'll get about the product, the more interested they'll become, and then it's just a matter of seeing which option they want, and you can get more customers involved.